Could Spider-Man's next trilogy be concluded with some very, very familiar faces? Well, a new report seems to indicate that is exactly what is happening, and we might see the return of some classic Spider-Man villains in the MCU. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about where the report comes from, what this means for Spider-Man, and how this could be a classic way to close out the trilogy. Now, before we do that though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we want to be your place for all the superhero news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are in the know. Well, if you guys remember correctly, back when Marvel and Sony teamed up to do Spider-Man, there was a very early decision to focus on villains that Spider-Man had never seen on screen. After that, we got the Shocker, Matt Gargan, who eventually becomes the Scorpion, and Mysterio, all characters Sony had never brought to life. Now, in Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw Tom Holland, as well as Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man, face off with the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Electro, Sandman, and the Lizard. And as exciting as that was for many of us, it felt like pretty strongly this was closing the door to those characters being part of the MCU. Even during the movie, William Dafoe's Norman Osborn confirmed that his variant does not exist in this world at all. So fans went on to assume that these characters would likely never be part of the MCU. Now we got an interesting report from the Cosmic Circus, and directly from Alex Perez. Now this isn't from anybody officially on the production, nobody from Marvel Studios or Sony, but like we like to say with scoopers, when they're not hiding behind anonymity, it makes it a little more valid, and Perez and the circus do pretty well with most of their scoops. Now, what he had to say was pretty interesting, because it sounds like Marvel is indeed going back to the well for something classic, and claims not only will the Green Goblin return, but also Dr. Octopus. In a recent post he said, they, and I quote, will be, if not the final villains Holland Spider-Man faces when his time as Spider-Man comes to an end. Now, in the same report, he doesn't clarify any more details. It's unclear if these will be variants played by Dafoe and Alfred Molina, or completely new versions of the characters sourced in the MCU. Consider the possibilities that Avengers Secret Wars could, while give the MCU a bit of a soft reboot, it would make it pretty easy to find a way to worm these characters into the story. Now, this adds to the massive pile of future Spider-Man rumors we're hearing, and it's not very clear when this would happen. We are hearing there's going to be another trilogy of Spider-Man films, so there is a ton of time to figure out how to make these characters work, and if I'm making a guess, 5 and 6 would definitely come after Secret Wars. Now, given all the rumors that we have for the next Spider-Man movie, I'm not really sure how this would fit in there. We are hearing the Kingpin, as well as potentially the Shocker and the Scorpion could return. There's rumors of the Venom symbiote being introduced in that same movie, and all of those other characters that are supposed to appear like Daredevil, Kingpin, and Ant-Man. So the Spider-Man rumors continue to run strong. With 3 Spider-Man movies and 2 Avengers movies coming our way, it is really hard to pick what's real and what's not. Now personally, I would love to see both characters return, but wow, is this a high bar. William Dafoe has brought the character to life in a way that I don't think anybody can surpass, and in No Way Home, he was awesome. Fans also love the Alfred Molina version of Dr. Octopus, and I really don't think Marvel will use the same castings if they're doing an MCU version of the characters. This would see Marvel casting Osborn and Octavius inside the MCU, and there's a high bar given these previous performances, so finding an actor who would even want to do it is a challenge, and then getting that kind of performance out of him, well, that's a whole nother deal. It doesn't mean this won't happen, and Norman Osborn being part of the MCU definitely has greater implications, so I do think if Marvel can find a way to make that work, they will, but at this point, we probably want to relegate all of this to rumor, because there are so many stories making the rounds right now, it is really hard to pick out what's true. We do know Spider-Man's returning in Spider-Man 4, but if any of these villains actually show up, we're going to have to wait and see.